Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today on Lit Up, we have Andrew Forman, and I have a copy of the book he's going to be reading from right here, The Berry Box, which I've read this, and I'm pretty sure I reviewed this on my blog. I love the story. Such a creepy, interesting concept. And I think I wound up winning some swag from Lee because I've got a signed bookmark here, and I've got a magnet, which is very cool. And I am a Foreman fan. I have Zero Perspective, which is the earlier book that you wrote. But anyways, that's all my stuff, me showing off my show and tell author collection stuff. How are you doing, Lee? And welcome to Lit Up.
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm curious because this is such a creepy, unique story. How on earth did you come up with this? And please tell me it's based on your real life personal events.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Is it really? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, actually, the whole entire beginning of the book actually happened. So,
damn.
Yeah, a lot of probably a good portion of the first chapter is true. When I was growing up, when I was little, we lived in a haunted house. And so that always stuck with me throughout my life. And when I started writing, I thought, I got to write about that. I've got to tell that story,
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of it is fictionalized, but it's all based in reality.
That's so cool. I actually got chills when you said, yes, it is based on a real life event. Do you want to give us any clues or anything like that about what happened in those real life events, or do you want to save it for the story?
Yeah, I can give a few clues, I guess. Yeah. The box thing is real. I was obsessed with collecting boxes. I was obsessed with coffins and death when I was a child. Hence, I'm a horror writer, so it kind of makes sense. Kind of born into it, I guess. But the house itself was incredibly haunted. We had to move out. My mother just left. We had to get out of there. Like, we didn't live there long at all. And me trying to bury myself, I never actually did it, obviously, but I did try.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's that. And, some of the scenes with like arms coming through the ceiling and things like that, stuff like that happened. Voices in the house.
Wow. Yeah. Where's this house? Can we do a tour?
I wish. It's lived in.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Wow. That is so cool. So cool. Well, that's one of the good things about being a horror writer, I guess, and being a writer in general, is you can take those experiences and process them down onto paper so that you can share them with everybody and also process them.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was hard to write the book, actually.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, you're going to read to us today, I think, aren't you? Are you going to read parts of Berry Box, so we're going to get to hear this? What's the part that you're going to read? Give us like a little bit of a foreshadow, like where does this start in, and like give us a little bit about the story.
Yeah, I'm going to start right off from the beginning, chapter 1. Give you a little preview, get you started on the story there. And like I said, a lot of that is true. So that'll be interesting.
Oh, how exciting. And,
yeah. So
perfect for right now, too. Halloween.
Yeah.
Real life ghost stories.
Yeah. The real deal.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Have you ever lived in a haunted house since then, or?
Not nearly as much as that one. I've, little things here and there in different places, but nothing as extreme as having to actually move out and leave the place.
That's awesome. Always so exciting. I had one of those experiences myself, and like now, I mean, at the time it's terrible and terrifying, but later as a writer, you're like, oh, that was gold. Is that how you feel?
Material, yeah.
Yeah. So lucky that happened to me.
Right? As terrible as it was.
Yeah. So lucky I almost killed myself by burying myself. It's really exciting. Awesome. Well, I am super excited to hear you read this. If you're ready, I'm ready. I'm ready to listen.
I am ready.
Get some spooky on for Halloween.
Got my copy right here. So
I'm going to read along with you if you're starting from the beginning.
Yep. Start right from chapter 1.
Awesome. And thank you, by the way. Thank you for doing this, because this is exactly what we need to get into that whole Halloween spirit.
Absolutely. Little scary reality here. So All right.
My
The Berry
favorite
Box,
kind.
Chapter 1. With a face black as the void of space, so dark it appeared like a hole in reality, it approached. No legs carried its form across the yard. It hovered in the air, its red robe and strange hat swaying in the breeze. Reggie stood and stared, boyish wonder and amazement displayed with a bright smile. He felt no fear, but rather welcomed its approach. Two white holes opened like eyes on its circular head. Hello, Reggie. I'm God. I want you to dig a hole in the ground. Then put yourself in a box, put the box in the hole, and bury it. Lori's only relief was that her husband wasn't there to see Fluffball's corpse on the bed. Tom had been gone 3 days. He was rarely away that long. The tension in her shoulders tightened its grip, both at the thought of him coming back too soon and at the thought of him never coming back at all. She still couldn't believe Reggie dug up the dead cat and put it next to her while she slept. Strange behaviors had taken hold of her son as of late. Before the cat, the most disturbing was his hoarding of boxes. All boxes he could get his little hands on. Cereal cartons, shoe boxes, anything of the sort. He'd take to his room and stack in a neat pile. He called them berry boxes. She had no idea what he meant by that, but her concern burned through a pack of cigarettes a day. Maybe it's the summer heat, she thought. It's been hotter than hell out all month. Reggie was on the lawn, playing by himself as usual. It never worried her that he seemed to interact with thin air. Every kid has imaginary friends, don't they? But the boxes. They made her fearful, a feeling intensified by the cocaine, liquor, caffeine, and nicotine, and by the house. They'd only been here a few months, but Lori still felt like a stranger in her own home. Most of their belongings had been unpacked, save for some things that just never seemed to leave their boxes, no matter how many times they moved. Those random objects just seemed to travel with them wherever they went, never opened, never looked through, transferred from one basement or closet to another. They were fixtures with mysterious contents. They were easy to spot, too. She instinctively knew where to put them when they moved into a new place. They were worn, faded, used, water-stained, not fresh and clean like the boxes they'd normally acquire and discard. Even though she finally had the furniture arranged the way she liked, all the knickknacks and wall decorations hung, the house still held a strange, uninviting feeling. She felt like an intruder, like she'd broken in and had to get out before the owners returned. The feeling danced on her shoulders continuously, never stopping, always tapping to some unheard rhythm. In every room, there was a chill that followed on her back like stalking ghostly fingers. There was emptiness, a hollow pit in her stomach, all the time. Shadows flickered on the walls, strange noises after dark. And now, the berry boxes. A cigarette shook in one hand as Lori ran fingers through her hair with the other. She tapped her foot on the black and white tile floor. She often wondered if Tom would come home at all. Sometimes, when he was out on a bender for more than a couple of days, she'd stare at the phone, wondering if she'd get a call. Maybe it would be an accident, or he'd overdose on whatever multitude of drugs he mixed together on any given night. God can't interfere in the affairs of man because he gave him free will. If God were to guide fate, mankind would lose that free will. It was something she'd read, written on the bathroom stall of some dive bar Tom took her to early in their relationship, just when the red flags started popping up like neon beer signs. Just when she realized he was a douchebag and she was in for a bad time. She never forgot the quote. Such beautiful words in such an ugly place, she thought. Sometimes Lori imagined who could have written them. To her, it was an epiphany. It was an answer to that old question. Why does God let bad things happen? It was both a comforting and a disturbing thought, a bipolar philosophy. But ever since that night, it was one she had to face, especially in her current life. Why is this happening? God can't intervene. You're on your own. She snorted another line and lit another cigarette. Mommy, I want cake, Reggie said as he ran into the kitchen. She tousled his hair after covering the white powder with a magazine. You'll have to wait until tomorrow, sweetie. The cake is for your birthday. Its chocolatey scent filled the kitchen. But I want it now. I know, but it'll be more fun if you wait. You'll get to blow the candles out. Do you think Dad will be here for my birthday? Lori hesitated. We'll see. Why's Dad gone all the time? Reggie bounced back and forth between his left and right foot. He's working. Go get ready for bed, and tomorrow we'll have your birthday party. Okay. Reggie shuffled away. The loose feet of his pajamas dragged along the floor. Lori's attention turned to the door, wondering if and when it would open. She lit another smoke and let it shake between her fingers, ashes falling like dead leaves onto the table. She rubbed her nose and sniffled. She felt the urge to burn another line, just in case he came home, just in case he didn't. She got up to check if Reggie was getting ready for bed. He was surprisingly good about it for a boy about to turn only 12, but she wanted to make sure it was safe to bring out the dust and the liquor and dive into it like a Greek goddess. Whether Tom came home or not, it didn't matter. She was going to need it. The house itself could be just as cruel as him. When Lori stopped at the bathroom door, Reggie was brushing his teeth and making faces in the mirror. He saw her reflection and grinned with a foaming blue mouth. The smile that grew on her lips brought pain, both physical and emotional. Her mouth wasn't used to the motion, and neither was her soul. She smiled when necessary, as a role, as a defense, but rarely out of actual joy. Those were the ones that hurt, not the ones pretended, but the ones that were real. Almost ready for bed? Yes, Mom. Good boy. Lori tucked Reggie in, turned on the nightlight, and left the door open a crack. He didn't like being in the dark. Neither did she. Not in this house. At the kitchen table, 3 lines and a bottle lay before her. The only choice was which to start with. Lori knew the rule for beer and liquor, but couldn't recall if one existed for Coke. She shrugged and picked up the cut-in-half bendy straw, pulling one line clean off the faded wood. Eyes watering, she unscrewed the top of the bottle and took a long drink. She leaned back in her chair, lit a cigarette, and closed her eyes. She inhaled deeply, exhaled slow-moving clouds of gray smoke. She watched them waft through the room, hanging like fog in the dim yellowed light of the kitchen. The walls creaked and groaned. She snorted another line and took 2 drinks. The floor rumbled. The 3rd line gone. Cold needles pricked her flesh, accompanied by the icing of her bones. Reggie was asleep. Tom hadn't come home. Lori was alone with the house, the home that never felt like home. She took another drink, thought about spreading out another line, but she felt high enough to make it through the night if it didn't get too bad. Besides, she had the bottle for company. The light in the kitchen flickered, and her mind with it. It's just the Coke fucking with you. It flashed repeatedly, then went out. Lori's chest heaved. The dark engulfed her in a claustrophobic embrace. The chair's one uneven leg rattled against the floor. Her hands clamped onto the edge of the table. She gritted her teeth. Her gaze went to the light fixture in the ceiling. Every nerve prayed for it to come back on, prayed that the voices wouldn't start. The light did come back on, and the rumbling walls calmed. Reality made its return, and with it, the comforting sound of crickets outside the window. She listened to them intently, allowed their chittering to fill her ears. She had to focus on something other than what was already in her head. She had to make it through the night. Chapter 2. Beneath the light of a birthday sun, Reggie took the gardening spade outside. He had to make holes for his berry boxes, had to practice for the real thing. God might be angry if he didn't do it right. It was important that the berry box he put himself in would be completely covered in dirt so he would be well hidden. It'll be like playing hide and seek, God said. I like that game. I know you do, Reggie. Why do you think we're going to play it? Reggie's cheeks flushed, and he wore a big smile. You should go play with your friends. But I don't have any, Reggie sighed. What about them? God had nodded to his left, toward the house. Two children, a boy and girl roughly the same age as Reggie, stared at him. Reggie stared back, delighted by the sight of two kids he'd never seen. When he looked back to God, he was gone. "Who are you?" Reggie asked the kids. "We used to live here." Reggie considered the answer. An inkling of suspicion crawled up his spine. He wondered why they would come back to a house they no longer lived in. But that thought quickly vanished. There were other kids here. His eyes opened wide. His heart warmed with the thought that finally there would be other kids to play with. "Do you want to play?" the boy asked. Despite his excitement of meeting new friends, something felt wrong. Reggie questioned their monotone expressions. Suddenly, they didn't look very nice. The boy crossed his arms. "Well, do you want to play or not?" "I guess so," Reggie answered. He thought of something that might impress them, make them think he was tough like Dad. He took a pack of candy cigarettes from his pocket and offered one to each of them. "I'm Reggie," he said. "What are your names?" The boy put the chalky cigarette in his mouth and leaned against the side of the house, one knee bent, foot against the siding. "Mikey. That's my sister, Tabby." Tabby smiled, but only briefly. Her mouth went back to the horizontal line it had been before. She held her candy cigarette, but not between her pointer and middle fingers like the grown-ups did. "So what do you want to play?" Reggie asked. "Hide and go seek?" Mikey pretended to puff on his cigarette and blew out imaginary smoke. "No, I don't like that game. Why don't we play How Many Ways Are There to Die?" "I don't know that game," Reggie said. "All you gotta do is imagine cool ways you can get killed, like bleeding to death or getting your head chopped off with an axe. You go first, Tabby." She eyed them both before speaking. "Getting murdered by your daddy." "Good one, Tabby," Mikey said, smiling. He aimed his gaze at Reggie. "Your turn." Reggie ran scenarios in his mind. It came to him like a revelation. "Getting buried alive." Mikey widened his grin. "I like that one. Let's start digging."
Whew. That I love when you have the kids involved. They really bump up the creepiness factor.
Yeah, kids are always creepy.
Yeah, we've got a comment from Kathleen Marshall, who earlier was saying, "Wow, that this is based on real life events." But yeah, she also loves the kids.
The kids
So
are real, by the way.
are they really like
Mm-hmm.
you did actually see those? Well, I'm. Is it a
I mean,
spoiler?
no, I
We'll
mean,
just say those kids, those
yeah,
mysterious kids.
mysterious kids were there. Yep.
Oh wow, wow, that is so cool. Um, One thing I wonder as I go through this, has your mom read this book, and what does she think?
Oh, also, I should probably point out that my mom didn't snort a bunch of cocaine and stuff.
Yeah,
That
yeah, that
That part's fictional.
we
Sorry,
understand
Mom.
there's
Sorry.
fictional.
Yeah, when I wrote that, I was like, oh no, I should probably tell people that, that part's not factual. I just threw that in there.
Oh, here's your mom in chat scolding you. Wee!
Yeah, yep, she's read the book.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Does she remember the events of the house in kind of
Oh
like the
yeah.
same way?
When I was writing the book, I asked her a lot of questions about it to try to refresh my own memory and see if there was anything I had missed.
I'm answering a chat question. Yeah, Kathleen really liked that. But yeah, that is so cool. Do you ever think you might go back and try to reconnect with some of the stuff that was going on and see if it's I mean, that's something I wonder about the houses that I've lived in that are haunted is I always kind of want to go back and see how much of that was my imagination, how much of it would still affect me. Can I still be scared by it? Do you ever think things like that?
Well, I did go back to the property last year when I did my berry box contest, and I filmed some videos on the property.
Oh, I remember
Um,
that.
yeah, but I don't know if I'd really want to put myself back into that scenario. Like I said, that was the most haunted place I've ever been. It
Yeah,
was the most terrifying experience I'd had, and I don't know if I'd want to dig that up.
literally.
Unintended, yeah.
When you did go back, did you kind of sense anything, or was there any kind of shocking, oh, this is where that was there, or like, did you get any like kind of flashbacks
I
or?
mean, not it was really weird. It was really spooky to go back.
Yeah,
It really made me nervous. I'll tell you that. But nothing happened,
yeah.
thankfully. But
Did did you I'm sorry, I feel like I'm being super nosy here, but I'm asking for chat. They're, asking for chat, not myself being nosy. Did the people know that you were there, or that you'd written this book about their house, well, now their house, or anything like that?
um, yeah, I mean, I told them I wrote a book about it, yeah, so that I could go back onto the property.
Yeah.
But I was lucky that they let me do that.
Hmm.
But I guess, I don't know, they didn't really say anything whether or not they had any experience there or not.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming not, but
Or yes, because they don't want to bring it up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, maybe, yeah. It's strange how hauntings can kind of target certain people, but not others.
yeah, and I
Like
think it is a,
residents.
yeah, it's a factor of like being sensitive to it sometimes
Yeah,
too, I think, receptive.
yeah.
So we have a question from chat, from Kathleen Marshall. What were your mom's experiences with this?
Oh, well, I mean, hands would come out of the ceiling and try to grab her. Voices would tell her to get out of the house. She's gonna die. Um, Things have grabbed her. Um, what else? I'm trying to think of something, some more specifics. Um, there was this room in the house that all of us avoided, and it was like kind of a vestibule little area between the kitchen and living room. And we all, every time we went through that room, we ran through that room, ran through it, because there was something in the corner of the room. You couldn't see it, but you knew it was there. And that room, there was nothing, it would just stayed out of it, just stayed out of it.
Wow. That's, I should, I guess my, for horror writers, this is an appropriate facial expression, but I guess for anybody else, I'd be like, oh, scared. But no, I'm like, oh, tell me more.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I wonder, did you ever get a hint of like what happened in that room, maybe? Or,
No, no, no. Never got any kind of reason for any of that.
yeah, that'd be interesting to look up the history a little bit. I lived in a house one time that had a room like that where I wouldn't put my feet on the floor. And later I found out that somebody had shot themselves on that floor.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I was like, I kind of think there's got to be like some reason why like these things
Hmm.
don't just happen. It'd be super interesting to find out why.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd always
Yeah.
planned to look up the history of it, but never I just never did. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, probably you need a little distance too, in a way.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that was probably too much information for me at the time, having just
Hmm.
moved from the house. But, now I'm like really curious. So, well, awesome. All right. I know you've got other things to do. I won't keep you too long. What's First, tell us where we can find the Berry Box, which is on Amazon. I've shared the link once. I'm also going to embed this video in my blog, and I'll have the link again, but you can just search it on Amazon. It's really easy to find. And you can also get the Zero Perspective, also from Lee, which I can do that so we can actually see your name on it. But also, tell us a little bit about where we can find you, because you're coming out with more stuff. What are some of the other books that we can find by you, or other places that you write, other writing?
Oh yeah. I do have another book, collection of short stories and flash fiction. That one's called Fragments of a Damned Mind.
Okay.
And all my books can be found on Amazon. And I also, you can find all of my short fiction, flash fiction, poetry, all that stuff on my website, leandrewforman.com. And then I also have a fun horror group called Cult of the Box. And in order to join that, all you got to do is follow at Cult of the Box on Instagram, or just email me directly at leandrewforman@gmail.com. And there's a cool monthly newsletter that rolls out for that, and other cool stuff that's going on with that. You can also find a lot of my writing on penofthedamned.com.
Sorry, I'm typing all this in. Cult of the Box is a very cool little thing that you did. Is that just for Berry Box?
That's what inspired it. When I did my contest last October. After the contest, it was so much fun doing it. I thought, maybe coming up with like a little like horror fan group would be a cool idea. And so, rather than like writing a newsletter just about me and what I'm doing, it's just about horror stuff in general. Like there's movie reviews, like articles about strange objects and strange places, music reviews, video games, just anything.
Yeah, that's why I think I enjoy it too. It's kind of grown bigger than just the Berry Box, but I really do think, I can't remember, but there was a band that you had shared in there that I wound up following later and kind of obsessing over. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head right now what it was, but I remember getting a couple things like that from Cult of the Box.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's about. I find cool stuff or share cool stuff I know about, and just write about it, and it's a lot of fun to do, and hopefully it's fun to read.
Yeah, it is. I can attest to that. So, all right, I guess like my last question is, what's coming up next for you? What are you working on now?
Right now I'm working on another book. That'll be out when it's done. I'd like to say, next year, but it'll probably be next year.
Yeah.
So that's in the works. Also, I'm writing an episode for a podcast called The Lift coming up. I've written for most of their seasons that they've done, regular contributor there. I've also got some new stuff coming out on Pen of the Damned all the time. And also right now, for you writers out there, I'm also co-owner of Sirens Call Publications. And right now we have open submissions for our bi-monthly or quarterly e-zine for our winter issue. So check out sirenscallpublications.com for that. Go ahead and submit your stories, poetry, flash fiction, all that.
Yeah, I love Sirens Call, by the way. That is I think that's how we met. Isn't it? I think I was submitting work to Sirens Call or something, and somehow we've all kind of met in a more involved way. It's a weird way to put it, but
yeah, I've met a lot of people through there. Yeah, it's a great, a great way to network.
Yeah. Oh, Kathleen says she will be joining Cult of the Box. I definitely recommend it. It's besides just finding out information about you and Berry Box, it's really just like you said. It's just a new, like, creepy news, which is kind of what we all want.
Yeah, just for everybody in general, all horror stuff.
Yeah. Well, can you give us a hint about what this next book is about? Any more real life ghost stories, or are you kind of riffing off of complete?
Oh yeah. The new book's probably about halfway done. It's basically about a family that owns a carnival, and they're not too savory. I think kind of got the idea from Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of stuff. So not very nice people, and it's like the last freak show in the country or whatever. And I don't want to give too much away.
No. I'll ask, but you're free to set those limits.
There are chainsaws involved, so that's always fun.
Oh, yay. Yeah, that's exciting. I love carnivals because they're just like rich with material, creepy material. So.
I've always been creeped out at carnivals. I don't like them, honestly.
Yeah.
I always feel creeped out when I'm there.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, I guess that's it for now. Thank you so much for that reading. I was following along, but your reading was so good, I just kind of drifted off, I think. And I apologize about the dogs. I heard I had some dog background noise happening. So that was off in the neighbor's yard of your reading that happened. We'll just say.
You must have liked the book.
Yeah. But thank you so much. If you want to finish the story that Lee read part of, it's The Berry Box.
It's free on Kindle right now.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was the other thing, till the 13th, right?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, you could actually finish this story for free on Kindle right now. So, and thank you so much for being here, Lee.
All
That's
right. Thank
awesome.
you, Angela.
Yeah. Let me know when you get that next book out. We'll do this
Oh,
again for sure.
everyone will know when that's out.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody in chat. Thanks for all the comments and everything. And we will see you next time when we do another Lit Up.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Bye.